Hello, this is a demonstration of the CALA application. CALA stands for Calculus Advanced Learning Application. This is a project I've been working on for Dr. Zhu and Dr. Sharma. The user is first presented with a login screen. I have a test user set up under the username T and another password. So I'll go ahead and log in. This is connected to a server, so it keeps track of the user logins and their scores and their progress throughout the games. So once they log in, if they're a first-time user, they won't have these 6 icons here for the games. It'll be a blank screen, and their first options would be to either log out, which wouldn't make much sense, or go to the tutorials. So in the tutorial section, they'll first be presented with 1 through 10, and this deals with the derivatives and solving those quickly, and the natural log rule, the product rule, the quotient rule, tangent, all that fun stuff for them. So once they complete those first 10 tutorials, they'll start with this first game where they're racing against a rabbit. They're presented with some sort of equation. They have to evaluate its derivative and choose the right one before it eats the carrots, or if they choose wrong, it will eat a carrot automatically. So here's a little sample of that. So we have 1 over the square root of x squared plus 1. So the solution to that would be, let's see, it's going to be to a negative 1/2, I believe, times 2x. Nope, my mistake. There we go, it's negative. And let's see. Okay. And all right. Now the goal is to get 5 correct. Once you get 5 correct, the game is over, and the game over screen prompts. Okay, so once we finish the game over comes up, and it shows our current score and our high score. So I didn't do as good as I usually do on this game. So if I click next, it'll bring us back to the screen. Once again, on their first interaction, they wouldn't have all 6 of these. They would only see this one still, but they would have a new tutorial. So going through those tutorials, they then play the next game, which has to deal with root conversions. They're going to be given some f of x, and it's essentially x to some power. They have to identify what that power is. So I'll run through a couple examples. So 1 over the 9th root of x to the 7th would be a negative 7 over 9. This is the other one. And these are all input through either the number row or the 10 key pad if they have that. Okay. Or, see, that one isn't negative, so let me, there we go, type it in right. Okay, 1 over 4 and 3 over 2, okay. Negative 3 and negative 1 over 2. Eventually, if we get 15 correct, we will end up with a bonus question, which I'm trying to get to show to you. Negative 2 over 3. Okay, and then our bonus question comes in here from the right. So if we get that right, 7 over 6, and type it in, we got an increase. And it bumped into our 1, so we're losing that one over to the side, negative 1 over 4. And basically, it gets faster every time you get 15 correct without losing a life. And the goal is to type in as many as you can without losing lives. So I'll go ahead and let the lives run out here, and we'll see how I did. And one more. Okay, so the best I've done was 6,900. That for every one you get correct, it's 100 points. So this time we did 19. So after that, we would come back to our main screen. They'd go to the tutorials. They'd see these tutorials about parenthesis placement. They'd go back, and now that they'd be able to play this space game. And basically, they're given two functions, f of x and g of x, and then some interaction between them. So they'll have f of g of x. So our f of x is cosecant of 2x, and our g of x is x squared minus square root of x. So f of g of x. So whenever we see x in f of x, we'll replace it with g of x. So that'll be our right around this equation right here. Yeah, easy enough. So we're inserting our brackets with z and x, z for the left one, x for the right, and we're using our arrow keys to navigate the spaceship. So once we've input our things, we'll check our answer. If it's correct, it'll just show the next one. If it's wrong, it'll show the current status of this and deduct a life. So that one was correct, and so it does that. And we won't go through the entirety of this. The next game is dealing with derivatives as well, so no new tutorials will come up for that one. They'll just be presented with this upon successfully completing this third game. Each game has a minimum score requirement to maintain that the user understands the concept and can pass the test efficiently before moving on. So with this one, it's a basic matching game. It's a memory game. They're going to have a function and its derivative, and they need to figure out the pairs and match them as quickly as they can without guessing too many incorrect matches. So, okay, I got a couple. Oh, all right, let's see. Okay, cool. Yeah, I noticed how that E. There we go. And then we'll continue to match. Every time that we guess incorrectly, we watch this bad guess up in the left-hand corner. It will show up an increase. So we have 5 bad guesses so far. Secant tangent. That's okay. Cosecant. Okay, so okay, and then negative sign. That's the cotangent. So squared tangent. Okay. Oh, there we go. No, my mistake. Okay, and there we go. Now we've matched them. So I got a few more bad guesses than I typically do on that one. So my final score was 1750. And my high score was 1850. Okay, so our next game is dealing with parenthesis placement again. And this is a nested doll situation. So we're presented with an equation at the top here. Y is equal to the tangent cubed of the square root of the cotangent of 7x. So what we're going to do is, like nesting dolls, you start with the smallest one, the innermost doll, and then you build off of that. So our innermost variable or value in this equation is our 7 of x. So we're going to drag that over to the center here, and a doll comes and eats it up. And then now we build out from that. So next would be our cotangent, and then it would be our square root, and then our tangent, and the whole thing is cubed. Now we've done that, and our correct ticker will come up. Now we'll just repeat the process, starting with the innermost and building out. This is a very, very good example to correspond with the concept, because this This is a very important concept when dealing with the chain rule. Cosine, and the whole thing squared. And once again, it's a there are wrong guesses. So the innermost here would be x, but I'll guess cosine. Nothing happens, but it does count as a wrong guess. So we'll start building that appropriately. And it's a first to 5. This is all from the question bank, and it is randomized each time. This one is pretty simple. And now we've done all 5. A game over will come up, and my score must be from an old value. Okay, and then our last tutorial has to deal with fraction operations. This was a very basic concept, but very important to master. The basic rules are they're given 2 fractions, they're either subtracting or adding, and they have to give the appropriate answer without reducing the final result. So this is just like the other one with the root conversion, but we're dealing with fraction math now. So we have 1 over 8 plus a half. So a half is the same as 4 over 8. So we would type in 4, or not 4 over 8, my fault. We would type in 5 over 8, because 1 over 8 plus 4 over 8. And we get that correct. And then our common denominator here would be 12. So that would be, sorry, 4 over 12 plus 24 over 12. So that should be 28 over 12. And that's correct. This one's easy. We'll just double it real quick. 8 over 6 plus 2 over 6, 10 over 6. Now the reason we chose to not have them reduce in the end was it disallows using scientific calculators, because you can type in a fraction math equation and it'll give you the reduced result in the end. So we have 36 plus 9, that'd be 45 over 9. Okay, and we got our bonus one over here. So 36 over 42 over 36. Oh, that was not correct. Oh man. Okay. Oh. I drew a blank. This one's tough. So a little challenge happens when they run into each other with this bonus question. Getting the bonus question incorrect or missing it does not result in losing a life. It's purely a gain if you get it correctly. So I'll just go ahead and hit back. And that is the basics of the game. So there's 14 tutorials, 6 games, and a basic login system. I'll go over just a registration real quick. If you click on register, we accept a username which you can choose. We'll call it test user 1, because I don't think that one exists. You can have your username and password combination. It has to be unique, especially the username. Can't have 2 people with the same usernames. The emails can be the same, but they're purely for just keeping track of what emails are attached to what users. And then we'll make up a password. Okay, so test user 1, fake email, and a little easy password. When I register successfully, good job, you can log in now. And it'll bring us back, and we'll just type in test user 1, a little password, and then when we log in, successful. And as I said before, new users, they don't get those. So here's the tutorials as I mentioned before. Okay. And thank you.